Hello, my name is Michael Hope, and in this presentation on 1st and 2nd Corinthians, we will delve into key areas including the contextual background of ancient Corinth, who wrote the Corinthian letters, where they were written, their importance, and how we can challenge ourselves to apply their principles in our lives today. To really understand the messages of 1st and 2nd Corinthians, we need to first know what life was like in ancient Corinth. Corinth became a center of early Christianity in Greece after Paul visited between 51 and 52 AD. It was a wealthy, major commercial center that attracted people from various cultures, which led to a blend of religious and moral practices. In the ancient world, Corinth had a notorious reputation for lewd sexual immorality and indulgence in drunkenness. The worship of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, was especially prominent, and her temple's prostitution rituals contributed to the city's reputation for sexual excess. Corinth's vibrant social life often involved drunken feasts and excess. A rite of passage for young Corinthian men, called the toga virilis, involved a dinner party with strong drink and prostitution. These behaviors shaped the challenges of the Corinthian church, as early Christians struggled to live out purity, integrity, and self-control while being surrounded by Corinth's immoral culture. The Apostle Paul is widely regarded by biblical scholars as the author of 1 Corinthians. Despite the misleading title, this is not Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians addresses misunderstandings from an earlier, now lost letter. Paul's 18-month stay in Corinth gave him deep insight into the church's needs. Written under divine inspiration, the letter held immediate significance for its recipients and the broader church. It was referenced by Clement of Rome around 95 AD, acknowledging its authority. Paul wrote 2 Corinthians during a challenging time, addressing the Corinthian church's struggles to promote unity. The letter includes personal reflections on his persecution for Christ and his thorn in the flesh, which kept him reliant on God. It reveals Paul's vulnerability and deep commitment to the church's spiritual growth. 1 Corinthians is believed to have been written while Paul was in Ephesus during his third missionary journey. He received a report from Chloe's associates about divisions in the Corinthian church. Having recently founded the church, Paul addressed these issues in a letter written in 55 AD before departing for Macedonia. 2 Corinthians was likely written in Philippi. After sending Timothy with 1 Corinthians, Paul visited Corinth briefly and returned to Ephesus, writing a now lost, sorrowful letter. In Macedonia, Titus's good report inspired 2 Corinthians, which was Paul's fourth letter, likely written around late 56 AD. Why are 1st and 2nd Corinthians so important? 1 Corinthians is important because it provides practical guidance on addressing sin within the church. Paul confronted issues like division and immorality, offering a model for how the church should confront sin rather than ignore it. His bold stance emphasized the need for purity and the church's moral integrity. 2 Corinthians is important because it offers personal insights into Paul's life and ministry, which are unique in the New Testament. Chapters 8 and 9 teach key principles of Christian giving, generosity, cross-cultural support, commitment to promises, and cheerful giving, emphasizing God's plan for his people to bless others. How can we apply these concepts? In 1 Corinthians, Paul urges Christians to live faithfully for Christ, shining their light in a dark world. He called for a united, accountable community that would settle problems, encourage purity, and hold onto the hope of resurrection together. What can you do within your local church to make this kind of community more of a reality? In 2 Corinthians, he teaches us the importance of forgiveness and unity, even when we face challenges. Paul's example shows his dedication to bringing God's people together, despite opposition. This encourages us to forgive and support one another in faith. Can you identify areas in your life where pride or frustration might be causing disunity? What steps can you take to reconcile relationships with others and follow godly leadership in humility, as Paul encourages? In conclusion, understanding the context of ancient Corinth helps us better grasp the messages of 1st and 2nd Corinthians. Paul addressed issues like sin, division, and immorality within the church, while emphasizing unity, forgiveness, and faithful living. These teachings are still relevant today, encouraging us to live humbly, reconcile relationships, and support godly leadership in our communities. Thank you.